Title: Why You Feel Unmotivated Even When You Have Goals. There's a frustrating experience many people quietly carry. You have goals. You know there are things you want to change. You think about them often. You even imagine the kind of life you want to build. And yet, when it's time to act, something feels heavy. You delay, you avoid. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes and the same thing happens again. I remember someone once saying, "I don't understand myself. I want these things so badly. So why can't I seem to move?" That question carries a lot of frustration, because from the outside it can look like laziness, but most of the time it's not laziness at all. And if you've ever judged yourself for feeling unmotivated, I want you to hear this clearly. There is usually a deeper reason beneath it. So here's the question we're exploring today. Why do people sometimes feel unmotivated, even when they genuinely want change? Why does motivation disappear when we need it most? Why do people with goals, dreams, and intentions still struggle to take action? To understand this, we need to stop seeing motivation as simply drive or discipline. Often the issue is emotional, not moral. Many people assume motivation is something you either have or don't have. But psychologically, motivation is deeply connected to emotional state, mental energy, stress levels, meaning, and internal resistance. When these areas are misaligned, motivation naturally decreases. For example, if your nervous system is overwhelmed, your brain shifts into conservation mode. Instead of focusing on growth or ambition, it focuses on protection and survival. This is why burnout can feel like laziness, even though it's actually exhaustion. Another important factor is emotional resistance. Sometimes people want a goal intellectually, but emotionally, something inside them feels afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of change, even afraid of success and the pressure that may come with it. So the mind creates avoidance, not because you don't care, but because part of you feels unsafe moving forward. And then there's another issue many people overlook: disconnection from meaning. When goals become based only on pressure, comparison, or external expectations, the emotional connection weakens. You may still pursue the goal, but internally, the energy behind it fades. Because human beings are not motivated by pressure alone. We are motivated by meaning. Let's make this more real. Imagine someone who constantly tells themselves they need to work harder. They set goals, create schedules, push themselves repeatedly. But deep down, they're emotionally exhausted. They haven't rested properly in months, so every task begins to feel heavy, not because they lack ambition, but because their mind and body are depleted. Or consider someone who wants to start creating content, building a business, or pursuing a new opportunity. On the surface, they seem unmotivated, but underneath, there's a hidden fear. What if I try and it's not good enough? So instead of taking action, they procrastinate. Not because they don't care, but because avoiding the task temporarily protects them from emotional discomfort. Then there are people chasing goals that don't actually feel meaningful to them. Goals shaped by comparison, social pressure, or the need to prove something. And over time, motivation fades because the goal is not emotionally connected to who they truly are. Again, not laziness, misalignment, emotional exhaustion, or internal resistance. So how do you begin rebuilding motivation in a healthier, more sustainable way? Here are 3 practical approaches. Exercise 1. Ask the deeper question the next time you feel unmotivated. Pause and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling beneath this? Is it exhaustion, fear, pressure, or disconnection? This shifts you from self-judgment to self-understanding. And that changes the conversation completely. Exercise 2. Reconnect with meaning instead of focusing only on the outcome. Reconnect with why the goal matters to you personally. Ask, what about this feels meaningful to me? Growth, freedom, creativity, contribution. Meaning creates emotional energy. And emotional energy sustains motivation far longer than pressure does. Exercise 3. Reduce the emotional weight. Sometimes tasks feel overwhelming because the mind treats them as emotionally heavy, so make the goal smaller. Just enough to begin instead of, I need to completely change my life. Try, I will spend 10 minutes moving in the right direction. Small movement reduces resistance, and movement often restores momentum. Being unmotivated does not automatically mean you are lazy, weak, or incapable. Sometimes it means you are exhausted. Sometimes it means you are disconnected from meaning. Sometimes it means a part of you is afraid. And understanding that matters, because you cannot heal or change what you only judge. Real motivation grows when your mind, emotions, and actions begin working together instead of against each other, not through pressure, but through alignment, rest, meaning, and through small, consistent movement. In the next episode, we're going to explore something many people carry without fully realizing it: the emotional weight beneath their daily life, the stress, tension, and unprocessed feelings that quietly shape how they think, feel, and move through the world. And once you begin understanding that emotional weight, many things about yourself start making more sense. Thank you for listening.